Geraldine Donkey and Mrs. Bytte the Wolf were looking very worried. Geraldine had just put up a poster telling everyone to watch out for a nasty burglar who had been seen in the neighborhood. Mrs. Bytte was very upset.
Oh dear, that burglar could be getting into my window at this very moment and stealing all my valuables, as she called her collection of gold and silver ornaments. I must get home. And off she rushed without even saying goodbye to Geraldine. When Mrs. Bytte arrived home, she hurried around, putting all her valuables into a bag. No burglar's going to get my valuables.
Don't forget the sausages. Where's Judy? Where's Judy?
Said Joey the parrot.
Put them in the dustbin. Put them in the dustbin.
Be quiet, or I'll put you in the dustbin. Now, where was I? He'll never find them where I'm going to put them.
Mrs. Bytte started to dig a hole in the garden. It was a very deep hole, and by the time she had finished digging, it was almost dark. Mrs. Bytte carefully lowered the bag into the hole. She felt her valuables were in a much safer place now. Good.
I can just come down here and enjoy my lovely things whenever I want,
she said to herself. And that's just what she did. She never went out anywhere, and at all times of the day and night, she would go and stand by her rock to guard the valuables. If anyone called, she'd tell them to go away. And when Monty Mouse called collecting money for the Church Mice Holiday Fund, she shooed him away. Before long, Mrs. Bytte's strange behavior was the talk of the village. Becky Bird, who was always very nosy, said that she'd seen Mrs. Bytte talking to the flowers in the garden. Geraldine, who was a great believer in fairies, was sure that Mrs. Bytte was talking to the pixies, and she said she was going to sneak up to Mrs. Bytte's house and have a look. So one morning, Geraldine, Ferdy Fox, and Monty Mouse decided to go up to Bytte Towers and have a look at what Mrs. Bytte was up to.
Oh, I'm sure there's someone lurking around here. Go on, clear off, the lot of you,
said Mrs. Bytte. But while Mrs. Bytte was making such a fuss chasing her neighbors, someone else was quietly sneaking into the garden.
And don't come back, you nosy lot.
In the garden, someone was definitely up to no good. Next morning, Mrs. Bytte was in a very good mood and thought she might paint a nice picture of Joey the parrot. She was busy painting all day long until at last the picture was finished. Lovely. Parrots were not Mrs. Bytte's strong point. It was just starting to get dark, and Mrs. Bytte thought that perhaps it was a good moment to check that her bag of valuables was safe. But when she reached the place where the bag should have been, there was no bag, just a letter.
Dear Mrs. Bytte, I thought that your valuables would look much nicer on my mantel shelf than stuck down a hole. Many thanks and best regards, Cyril Snatcham, burglar. P.S. That's not my real name. Oh dear, all my best valuables all gone.
Next morning, she went to the village to tell everyone what had happened. But when she told Boris the Lion, he merely sighed. Oh, if you will go and hide all your things away where you can't even see them, you might just as well have an old brick there instead, you silly old muffin head.